In a small village, nestled between rolling hills, lived a young girl named Lina. She was about 15 years old, with dark, straight hair pulled back into a simple ponytail. Her soft brown eyes held a quiet curiosity about the world. Every afternoon, after her school day was over, she would walk home along a familiar dirt road. At the end of this road, just before her own small house, stood an old, quiet building. It was the village library. The building was made of dark wood and weathered stone. Its windows were small, and a heavy wooden door guarded its secrets. Most people in the village were busy. They had fields to farm, animals to care for, and families to feed. They walked past the library without a second look, their minds on more practical things. For them, the library was just a silent old building at the edge of their world. But for Lina, it held a special mystery. She often wondered what was inside. One warm afternoon, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the village, Lina stopped. She stood before the heavy wooden door, her heart beating a little faster. She took a deep breath, reached out her small hand, and pushed. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a room filled with a soft, warm glow. Golden light from a small, dusty window streamed in, illuminating rows upon rows of old books. The air inside smelled of aged paper, wood, and a hint of dust. It was a peaceful, quiet smell. It felt like stepping into another time. From behind a large wooden desk, an older woman looked up. She had kind eyes that crinkled at the corners, and her gray hair was neatly tied in a bun. Round glasses sat on her nose. She offered Lina a gentle, welcoming smile. "Hello, little one. Welcome," she said, her voice soft and warm like the light in the room. "My name is Daw May. I am the librarian here. I take care of all these wonderful stories." Lina felt a little shy, but Daw May's smile made her feel safe. She walked slowly between the tall wooden shelves. Her fingers lightly brushed against the spines of the books. They felt old and fragile. Some covers were worn, and the edges of the pages were soft and broken. But they seemed to hold more than just words. They held dreams, adventures, and lives from long ago. Lina felt a sense of wonder grow inside her. Each book was a door to a place she had never been. She picked up a thin book with a faded blue cover. The title was hard to read, but she could see small pictures of stars and distant galaxies inside. She looked back at the kind librarian who was watching her with a patient expression. Gathering her courage, Lina asked in a soft voice, Can I come here and read after school?" Her voice was barely a whisper filled with hope. Daw May's smile widened. "Of course, my dear. she replied warmly. This library is for everyone who loves stories. It is a home for curious minds like yours. Her words were like a key, unlocking a new part of Lina's life. From that day forward, the library became Lina's second home. Every afternoon, she would finish her chores quickly and hurry to the old wooden building. Daw May would always greet her with the same kind smile. Lina would find a quiet corner, sit at a simple wooden table, and open a book. She read about vast oceans, busy cities far away, and people who lived lives so different from her own. She learned about history, art, and science. The small village she lived in was her home. But inside that dusty, quiet library, her world grew bigger than she had ever imagined. The stories she read built a bridge from her small life to the great wide world outside. One rainy afternoon, Lina walked into the library. The rain tapped gently on the windows. The air inside smelled of old paper and rain. Daw May, the kind old librarian, was sitting behind her desk. She was not reading. She was looking at some papers. Her face was not happy. It was sad and full of worry. Lina walked quietly to the desk. Daw May, she asked softly, something wrong? She felt a small worry in her own heart. Daw May always had a warm smile, but today her smile was gone. Daw May looked up. She sighed a long, slow sigh. "Oh, Lina," she said. Her voice was tired. "It is the library. It has very little money." She pointed to the papers on her desk. "These are from the town office. Not many people come to the library now. The office says they may close this place next year." Lina's heart dropped. The words felt heavy, like stones. "Close the library," she whispered. Her voice was small. She looked around the quiet room. She looked at the tall wooden shelves filled with books. These books were her friends. They had taught her so much. They had changed her life and given her dreams. The thought of the library closing was like a dark cloud covering the sun. But where will the stories go? She reached out and patted Lina's hand. "The stories will always exist, my dear," she said gently. "They are in our hearts and in the world. But maybe they will not be here in this building." She looked around the room with tired eyes. "I am old, Lina. I have taken care of these books for a very long time. Maybe it is time for me to rest. Maybe it is time for the library to rest too." Lina shook her head. No, she could not accept that. This place was more than just a building with books. It was a home for dreams. It was a light for the whole village. "I don't want this place to disappear," she said, her voice a little stronger now. She felt a new feeling inside her, not just sadness, but a small spark of determination. "There must be something we can do. We have to try." Daw May watched Lina's face. She saw the fire in the young girl's eyes. After a moment, she pointed a finger toward a small, dark room at the back of the library. It was a room Lina had never paid much attention to. "We have one old computer in there," Daw May said. "It has been there for many years. Nobody uses it now. The internet is very slow, and to be honest, I don't really understand it. It is for a new world, a world I do not know." She looked back at Lina. Lina turned and looked at the dark doorway. The room was dusty, and she could only see the shape of an old desk and a large, gray screen. For a moment, she just stood there, listening to the rain. But then, a quiet idea began to grow in her mind. It was very small, like a single candle in a big, dark room. It was not a clear plan, but it was a feeling of hope. An old computer, the slow internet, the world outside their small village. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of a new chapter for their beloved library. A small light had begun to shine in a corner of her mind. The next day, Lina returned to the library. The sun was setting, and warm, golden light filled the quiet village streets. Inside the library's small back room, the air was still and smelled of old paper. Lina sat in the simple wooden chair, facing the old computer. Its screen was small, and the machine itself looked tired. But for Lina, it felt like a door to a new world. She felt a mix of nerves and excitement. Her heart beat a little faster. Daw May stood quietly behind her, her hands resting on the back of the chair. Her presence was calm and supportive. She looked at Lina with a gentle smile. "Do you know how to use this, my dear?" she asked. Her voice was soft, like a whisper. Lina looked up at her, a small smile on her own face. "A little," she answered. "We learned some things at school." She moved her hand to the mouse and clicked slowly. The computer made a low humming sound as it began to wake up. It took a long time. The screen showed a loading symbol that spun around and around. Lina waited patiently. She did not mind the slowness. Finally, a simple web page appeared on the screen. It was a search engine with a small box in the middle of the page. Lina leaned forward, her eyes focused. She carefully typed the words "free books" online into the search box. Then she clicked the search button. The old computer hummed again, working hard. After another long wait, a list of results appeared. Lina's eyes grew wide with surprise. She leaned closer to the screen. Her breath held. There were so many links, so many websites. It was more than she could have ever imagined. These books were not just from her small village, or even from her country. They were from everywhere. The whole world was at her fingertips. With growing excitement, Lina started to click on the links. She found websites with simple English stories, many of which had audio recordings. She could read and listen at the same time. She discovered websites made for learners with easy words and beautiful pictures. She even found videos of people reading stories out loud. They sat in cozy rooms, just like this one, and read books for others to hear. One channel had thousands of followers. People from all over the world left comments. "Thank you for this story," one person wrote. "I listen while I travel to work." Another comment said, "This helps me learn English so much." Lina looked at the screen, her mind racing. People were listening to these stories on their phones, on their computers, in their homes, far, far away. A new idea started to form in her mind, a tiny spark of hope. She turned to look at Daw May, her eyes shining with inspiration. "They read stories," Lina said, her voice filled with wonder. "And people listen on their phones. Maybe I can share our little library like this." She pointed to the screen, then looked around the quiet room at the tall shelves filled with old, forgotten books. Daw May looked thoughtful. She adjusted her glasses and peered at the screen. She saw the comments from people in different countries, all connected by a simple story. She looked back at Lina, then at the dusty books on the shelves. "So," she said slowly, her voice full of contemplation, "the old shelves in this village could send stories far away." The idea was big, almost too big to believe. But seeing the hope in Lina's eyes made it feel possible. Lina nodded slowly, her heart filled with a new dream. The library did not have to close. It did not have to die. Maybe it could live again in a new and different way. It could live through the online world, reaching people who needed stories, just like she did. The quiet little library in a small, forgotten village could become a home for readers all over the globe. A new chapter was beginning. In the quiet village library, a new chapter was about to begin. Lina brought her simple smartphone with her. It was not a new or powerful phone, but its camera worked. For her plan, it was enough. She walked to her favorite table near the window, where the afternoon sun painted golden lines on the old wooden surface. She carefully placed the phone on a small stack of books, creating a steady stand. The librarian, Daw May, watched her with a gentle smile, her hands resting on a book she was mending. Lina took a deep breath and opened one of her favorite storybooks. It was a collection of simple village folk tales, stories she had heard since she was a little girl. She looked at Daw May, her eyes shining with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I will start with this," she said, her voice soft but determined. "A simple village folk tale. It feels right." Daw May nodded, her expression full of encouragement. "A wonderful choice," she whispered. With a steady hand, Lina pressed the record button on her phone. A small red dot appeared on the screen, a silent signal that her little studio was now live. At first, Her voice shook just a little. The words felt strange leaving her mouth, knowing they were being recorded. She read slowly, focusing on each word, trying to speak as clearly as she could. As she continued, she closed her eyes for a moment. She imagined a child, perhaps in a busy city or another quiet village far away, listening to her voice. She pictured them learning new words, feeling the magic of the story, just as she did. The thought made her voice grow stronger and warmer. After a few minutes, she finished the story. The silence in the library felt different now, filled with a new kind of energy. She picked up the phone and watched the video she had just made. The picture showed her sitting at the old wooden table, just as she wanted. Behind her, the familiar shelves filled with books stood like silent, wise guardians. The sunlight from the window created a soft glow around her. She listened closely to the sound. Her voice was quiet, but every word was clear. There were no loud noises, only the gentle hum of the quiet library. "It is not perfect," she said softly, her gaze still on the screen. Daw May walked over and stood beside her, looking at the small screen. She saw the honesty in Lina's face, the love she had for the stories. "It is real," Daw May answered, her voice kind and firm. "That is much more important than being perfect. People will feel the heart you put into it." Lina looked up at her, and Daw May's words felt like a warm hug. The librarian was right. This was not about creating a perfect movie. It was about sharing a real piece of their world. Feeling a renewed sense of purpose, Lina started the next step. She opened a video sharing website and created a new channel. She thought for a moment about the name. She wanted it to be simple and true. She typed, "Village Library reads to the world." Then, she began to upload the video. The internet in the village was very slow. The small progress bar on the screen moved like a tired snail crawling across a long path. They waited patiently, watching the blue line grow bit by bit. It took a long time, but neither of them minded. Finally, a message appeared. "Upload complete." A bright, happy smile spread across Lina's face. She turned to Daw May, her eyes sparkling with achievement. "Now our little library is not only in this village anymore," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "Someone, somewhere out there can find us. They can hear our stories." That night, as Lina walked home under a sky full of stars, she felt a deep sense of tiredness in her body, but her heart was light and full of hope. Her small library had just sent its first message to the world. Days turned into weeks. Lina's routine became a quiet, steady rhythm in the old village. After school, she would walk to the library, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows on the dusty path. Inside, The familiar smell of old books and wood welcomed her. She would carefully place her small phone on a stack of books, aim it at the open page, and begin to read. Her voice would fill the silent room, a soft and steady stream of words. Some days, her voice was strong and clear, full of the story's magic. She read with passion, feeling every word. On other days, she felt tired. Her shoulders would droop a little, and her voice would be just a whisper. But even on those tired days, she did not stop. She pushed through the feeling. Remembering Daw May's encouraging words, she kept reading day after day. Every evening, after finishing her homework at her small wooden desk at home, Lina would check her channel. The screen glowed softly in her dimly lit room. She would watch the numbers with a hopeful heart. But the numbers were always small. One video had 18 views, another had 25. Sometimes, a new video had only 7 views after a whole day. A small sadness would touch her heart. Maybe my videos are too simple, she said to herself one night, her voice quiet. Maybe no one wants to listen to just a book. The next afternoon at the library, she shared her worries with Daw May. The older woman was cleaning her glasses with a soft cloth. She looked at Lina and shook her head slowly. Simple is not a problem, Lina, she said, her voice gentle like a soft blanket. The world is full of fast, loud things. Simple can be a gift. She placed her glasses back on and looked straight into Lina's eyes. Are you honest in your reading? Are you kind in your heart? Then it is enough. Keep going. Keep reading. Lina listened. Daw May's words were like a calm hand on her shoulder. She decided to trust the process and continue. That evening, as she checked her channel, she saw something new. Her heart beat a little faster as she read the words. I listen to your reading while I cook for my family, it said. Your voice makes my small kitchen feel bigger and less lonely. Thank you. Lina read the comment again and again. A warm feeling spread through her chest. It was a feeling she had never known before. Just as she was about to close the app, another notification appeared. It was a new comment from a village far away, a place she had never heard of. We don't have a library here, the message began. My children gather around my phone to listen. Your videos are the closest thing they have to books. Tears welled up in Lina's eyes. These were not sad tears. They were tears of deep, quiet joy. She showed the comments to Daw May. The older woman leaned in, reading the words slowly. A beautiful, wide smile spread across her face, and her eyes shone brightly behind her round glasses. You see, Lina, Daw May said, her voice full of pride and warmth. This is what matters. Even with a small screen and a slow internet connection, your reading is touching real lives. You are sending stories out into the world, and they are finding a home. The numbers on her channel were still small. They were tiny compared to the big, famous creators with millions of views. But for Lina, those numbers didn't feel so important anymore. Each message, each comment felt like a new little lamp turning on in a dark corner of the world. The old library, once so quiet and forgotten, did not feel so isolated anymore. It felt connected, a small, warm heart sending stories out to other hearts far, far away. Months passed quietly in the small village. The seasons changed, but Lina's routine stayed the same. Every week, she went to the old library, sat at the wooden table, and recorded her stories. There was no big moment, no sudden explosion of views. Her channel did not become famous overnight, but something wonderful was happening, slowly and quietly. While Lina slept, her old videos were still working. They traveled across the internet, reaching people in faraway places. One by one, messages began to arrive. They were not from big companies or famous people. They were from ordinary people, just like her. A teacher from another town sent a kind message. He wrote, "I play your simple English readings from my students. They learn so much from you. They like that you sound like a real person, not a perfect machine. Your voice is warm and clear." Another message came from a nurse who worked in a small clinic. She said, "I listen to your village stories during my break. The world in the clinic is often busy and stressful. Your calm voice helps me feel peaceful. It is like a quiet moment just for me." Lina read these messages on the small library computer. Her face felt warm. Sometimes she felt shy reading such kind words. She looked at Daw May, who was organizing books on a nearby shelf. "I'm just a girl in an old library," she said softly. "My English is not perfect. I still make mistakes when I read." Daw May stopped her work and walked over to Lina's table. She put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "That is why they trust you, Lina," she answered with a warm smile. "You are real. Your voice is real. You are not trying to be perfect. You are just sharing something you love. That is a beautiful gift." One quiet afternoon, a new email arrived. It was not from a listener. It was not loud or dramatic. It said, "Dear Library Project, we found your channel while looking for small libraries that use the internet in creative ways. We are inspired by your work to share stories from your village. We would like to send a few new books and a very basic microphone to support your project. This is a small gift to help you continue. If you are interested, please reply to this email." Lina read the email once. Then she read it again. Her hands shook a little as she held the old mouse. She looked up at Daw May, her eyes wide with surprise. A microphone. new books for us," she whispered. Daw May's eyes were full of a gentle light. She smiled, a deep, happy smile. "This library has always been a place that gives stories to the village," she said. "Now, after all these years, it is receiving a new story back." That evening, as the sun set over the village, Lina sat at the old computer. She took a deep breath and began to write a careful reply. She did not ask for anything big or expensive. She did not pretend to be a famous creator. She simply explained who she was, a young woman from a small village. She wrote about the old library and why she loved reading stories for others. She told them her dream was to help more people feel connected through simple words. Outside, the village streets were quiet. The same stars began to appear in the sky. But inside the old library, something had changed. A gentle new door had opened. It opened through the same simple screen where she once searched for free books online. It was a small step, but for Lina, it felt like the beginning of a new chapter. The sun cast a warm, golden light over the village. A year had passed, and the old library stood just as it always had. Inside, the peaceful feeling remained, but something new was in the air. The familiar scent of old books now mixed with a quiet excitement. On Lina's favorite wooden table, next to a stack of well-loved stories, a small, new microphone sat waiting. A few new books, their spines still crisp, had found a home on the shelves next to the old, worn ones. The library was no longer just a silent place. After school, the happy sounds of children filled the room. They would gather on the floor, their eyes wide with wonder, as they listened to Lina read stories aloud. It had become a special part of their day. On the wall, a simple piece of paper was pinned for everyone to see. The words were written by hand in clear, happy letters. Village Library reads to the world, 10,000 subscribers. Every time Lina looked at the sign, a soft, happy laugh escaped her. She remembered her first video, her nervous hands, and her quiet hope. She never dreamed that so many people from all over the world would want to listen to stories from her small village library. It felt like a beautiful, impossible dream come true. One afternoon, as the sunlight streamed through the window, an important email arrived. It was from the city library program, the same one that had given her the first computer. They had seen her videos and were impressed by her work. The email offered Lina a small scholarship. It was a chance to study online teaching and digital storytelling with teachers from big cities. The best part was that she could learn everything online. She did not have to leave her village or her beloved library. She could stay right here with Daw May and the children and continue to grow. Her heart felt full of gratitude. That evening, As the sky turned a soft orange, Lina prepared to record another video. She sat at her usual table, the rows of books creating a warm, comforting background behind her. Daw May stood quietly to the side, a proud and gentle smile on her face. She watched Lina with loving eyes, remembering the shy girl who was now a teacher for thousands. Lina took a calm breath and pressed the record button. A small red light on the camera turned on. "Hello, friends," she began, her voice warm and clear, her smile genuine. "I am speaking to you from our old village library. For a long time, this place felt quiet and forgotten. But your kind words, your messages, and your hearts have shown us something wonderful. You showed us that stories still matter, no matter where they come from." Her hand gently rested on the cover of one of the oldest books on the table, its pages soft with age. She looked directly into the camera, her eyes shining with emotion. "Reading changed my life," she continued, her voice soft but sure. "It built a bridge from this small, quiet village to the big, open world. It gave me a voice when I felt I had none." If you love stories too, and if you have a dream in your heart, please don't be afraid to start small. A single step, a single word, a single story can change everything. She paused, then ended with a gentle, hopeful laugh that filled the quiet room. "If this video and our stories help you on your English journey," she said, her voice full of warmth, "please subscribe for more English stories and warm library evenings from our little village." As she finished speaking, the screen slowly faded to black. But the story was far from over. For Lina, a new chapter was just beginning. Her future, much like the old library she loved, was now open, full of light, and connected to the entire world.